Final mic check. Check 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. And if I could ask the audience today, thank you so much for being with us. I'm Robbie with the Governor's Office. And if you could do me a favor and turn off your cell phones or mute them, that would be much appreciated at this point. And we're so grateful for having you here and what Harley-Davidson is doing for the Florida Disaster Fund.
Feels like it. Who is this lady I'm standing next to over here?
That is our good friend Irma.
Hey, how y'all doing? Good to see you.
Well, thank you all for coming. On behalf of the Adamec family, I'd love to present to you Miss Casey DeSantis.
That is the best intro. That is so great. Thank you for being here. And I just want to say personally, on behalf of the governor and myself, thank you for what you're doing. I know a lot of people in this room are volunteering and helping with the relief efforts, and so it doesn't go unnoticed. And I know there's a lot of people in Southwest Florida and the affected areas who have been through a really tough time, and they appreciate everything that you guys are doing to make a difference, and which is one of the reasons why we're here today. Happy to announce that with the Florida Disaster Fund, we've raised over $45 million going to the relief efforts, which is a record in the state of Florida. But I'm here today to tell you that our work has only begun, that we are not going to finish until everybody's back on their feet and everybody is recovering. And we know that that's going to take a long time because honestly, being on the ground and talking to a lot of folks, I mean, they lived in areas where they didn't think that they needed flood insurance. And this was a 500-year flood, and they're looking for pathways to be able to rebuild. And so with the $45 million in growing that we're doing, we're going to ensure that we're going to help them every way we can to get back on their feet. One of the neat things about what we've been able to do is that when we first launched this fund, we reached out to American Express, MasterCard, and Visa, and we told them, hey, listen, can you waive the processing fees? Because you know what, 3% or 2% off of $1 million donation, that's somebody's home that we could rebuild, and they did. So 100% of the funds that we raise go directly to the relief efforts, which is exciting. We've had 62,000 people from across Florida and the nation that have donated, and we've had some really great businesses that have made some sizable donations that have been just wonderful. And one of those is Florida Blue, and they're going to talk in a second. We also are excited CSX has done a lot to really support us in dailies. And so we're going to be coming back, obviously, to Northeast Florida, and we're going to be shaking the trees as much as possible to raise more funds, which I think, again, is going to be really a big deal. I want to thank Adamec Harley-Davidson for what they've done. 100% of what they generate in T-shirt sales goes directly to the people on the ground. And so this is a really unique way that businesses can get involved, because I talk to folks and they say, you know, we might not necessarily be able to write a sizable check, but can we do something where a percentage of a sale can go? And I say, yes, 100%. Whatever you can think of, this is the time to do it. So I have a phone number for people if they want to get involved, their business, and they want to find a creative way to support the fund, they can do so. It's 850-414-7400, and we'll give that to the media, of course, so that they can get that out there, and we can engage as many businesses across the state and the nation, actually, as possible. If you want to donate to the fund, floridadisasterfund.org, or you can also text disaster to 20222, and 100% again of your donation will go right to the victims of the hurricane. And with that, I want to introduce our first speaker is Darnell Smith. He's the North Florida president of Florida Blue. They did $1 million donation right out of the gate when we launched the funds, and so I could not thank their support enough, and so I want Darnell to come up and say a few words.
First, I'd like to start with a thank you for the First Lady. Whenever we typically have these hurricanes and they have major impacts to people's lives, often when the cameras shut off, nobody's watching and nobody's really taking care of the people who need help. And thanks to your leadership, that will not be the case here. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to be able to give $1 million to the Florida Disaster Fund after this past hurricane, Hurricane Ian. And we've done a number of other things as well in order to be able to support people throughout this particular issue. First, we'd like to share with you that we have telehealth services that are available free of charge for folks who absolutely have a need of being able to just, you know, see a particular physician about just about anything. And so those services are available. We have free emotional support services as well through what we call our teledoc services. And so we can make those numbers available throughout the course of this particular program here, but we'll make it available to the media. And then we've done a number of things of being able to make certain that as people are in need with having issues of complex issues, not having access to their medications and things of that sort, we're reaching out to them. We're making certain that if they need anything, that we're absolutely there, being able to ensure that we're helping them to get through these very, very tough times. And so that's what Floridians do. When folks are hurting, we stand up. And so we were proud to be able to do that with many of our corporate partners, but certainly in partnership with the First Lady, and we're happy to be a part of this. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. He brought up a really good point about the mental health services. So for the first time under this governor in the Department of Emergency Management, we have a mental health coordinator that is working with public and private partnerships to not only get the mental health support for the victims of the hurricane, but also for our great first responders and our USAR teams. We had more USAR, which are search and rescue folks, deploy to the affected areas more than any time in our nation's history since 9/11. And so we're making sure that if they have needs as far as it pertains to their mental well-being, that is being supported. And we appreciate what Florida Blue is doing to support those efforts as well. With that, Brian Tucker with CSX, the VP of Corporate Communications, they've been very generous in supporting the fund as well. I want to give them an opportunity to talk.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the 20,000 CSX employees across the entire country, I can say that we are also pleased and honored to be able to contribute to the Florida Disaster Fund. At CSX, we care deeply about the communities that welcome us every day, but none more than those here in our home state of Florida. So I would like to echo Darnell's sentiments in thanking First Lady DeSantis for your leadership and everything that you've done to raise awareness for this, and the funds that have been raised. It's just tremendous. It's incredibly impressive, and CSX couldn't be prouder than to be part of this coalition of businesses and everyday Floridians who have come together to support their neighbors. We have a lot of work to do, and as the First Lady said, continue giving, and we'll get back on our feet. Thank you.
And with that, the Secretary Tamayo of Volunteer Florida. So the fund resides within her agency, and so working with her is what we're doing to make sure we're maximizing the dollars. So where FEMA dollars run short, the fund can come in and supplement that with good nonprofits who are on the ground in the rebuilding efforts. And so she's literally been on the phone the whole time, which I told her, I said, you can take a second from fundraising to say a few words, but as soon as the press conference is over, you need to get back out there and raise more money. So for 5 minutes, here is Josie. Josie, get up.
Thank you. Thank you, First Lady. Thank you. And first of all, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here, specifically in Jacksonville, sort of our second home. And I want to thank all the wonderful sponsors from Harley-Davidson to Florida Blue to CSX and to Dailies, obviously, for contributing and being first up to contribute. It's my honor to be here. I'm the CEO of Volunteer Florida. And I first of all want to thank the Governor and the First Lady for their tireless work in opening up the fund, and since September 27th, the First Lady is correct, we have raised over $45 million. And we have also received 61,000 donors separate and have received money from over 80 corporate sponsors, which is amazing when you think about it. We are so blessed to be in Florida and so blessed that we have the ability to serve these individuals. And this is a storm like no other. And so it is my great privilege to lead Volunteer Florida. And we have one of our commissioners here that sits on our commission, so I'm very happy she's here. But I also want to talk about, and we work with nonprofits on the ground, with Catholic Charities, Red Cross, Team Rubicon. All these people are down there in the field. My staff is in the field addressing those issues. But more importantly, and the First Lady touched on it, there's going to be a lot of recovery involved, right? And so we want to continue our efforts in fundraising, because that is where the long-term effects of this storm are felt. And as I say, we are here, and I get calls every single day about donations. I answer them, I end my emails, and as the First Lady has said, we now have the line that could call in at 850-414-4700, and it's prompt number 8. So believe you me, we have somebody manning that line the whole time. But I also want to take an opportunity to thank those volunteers that are in the field. And we, not only do we administer the Florida Disaster Fund through our foundation, but we also assist through our volunteer. We're the Florida's volunteer agency. So we have on our website Volunteer Connect, right? And so there are over 2,400 volunteer opportunities. And I can tell you that even as late as this weekend, we had an organization, the Boys and Girls Club, who were looking for volunteers, and I was able to connect them and say, how many, what can we do, how we can help you, and even younger kids wanted to do that, so I urge you. So I know we have a lot of work ahead, but I want to make sure that we all understand that we in Florida are in all of this together, and we are so blessed, and I am so blessed to have this position. So I want to thank all the sponsors, but if you would like to volunteer to help those in the field, please go to www.volunteerflorida.org. And also, if you would like to make a donation, go to www.floridadisasterfund.org or text to 20222. We also have a QR code where if you want to text. And if you have questions about it, we have people on the line ready to answer your questions at any time. So thank you all very much for having me. It is a privilege. As the First Lady says, I have to go back and raise more money. But thank you so much, and you all have a blessed day, and it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you, First Lady.
Well, and I would be remiss, last night too, we were, obviously here in Northeast Florida, we are big friends and fans of the Van Zants, Leonard Skinner. So last night we were at a concert with them in Hollywood at the Hard Rock Casino, and they made a $100,000 donation, which was matched by the Seminole Tribe. So that's $200,000 more that we had. I would also say last night, you'll probably see in the pictures, yes, we had our 5, 4, and 2-year-old with us when we went to the Van Zant brothers concert, so that was a little interesting. But it really is an all-in effort across the state from our family's perspective and beyond to ensure that we are raising as much money as humanly possible. We are not going to lay off the gas. You're going to see a lot of us out and about. Josie's on the phone. I'm going to be on the phone doing press conferences and just asking people do whatever they can to support the fund, because it will make a huge difference at the end of the day in someone's lives when they are looking for avenues to get relief. This may be one of the biggest ones that gets them back on their feet. So I can't thank the Northeast Florida community enough for everything that they've done to support good people in need. And so with that, any questions? If not, we're on to the next stop. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here.